is an MD of the federal government.
Okay.
You understand? This marine research vessel was acquired for them by the federal government. You understand? It's acquired by the federal government for them, because they are marine biologists, for their research purposes and all that. But the question...
Didn't they factor in the fact that they have to spend money?
In maintenance?
Yes.
Those are the things, that's one of the loopholes in the system, because we don't, we don't go on a holistic view in terms of our approaches to issues. Now, we have 3 federal fishing terminals in Nigeria, 2 in Rivers State, 1 in Borokiri, 1 in Elimi, 1 in Ondo State. Now, those fishing terminals are lying fallow with huge facilities. They have a place for betting boats. There's a cold room there. There are several facilities there. It's a huge facility which government has abandoned. Okay, so somebody was like the one in Borokiri I'm aware of, somebody was giving the concession, the lease arrangement for 10 years, but investors refused coming in to put in money there. They said 10 years was too short a time for them to put in money, and they were not going to put in money there. Now, these same people, these same federal fishing terminals, this money, 10 million, 11 million euro invested in acquiring, could be put into these facilities, upgrade them, and let the private people come in and manage them. You create jobs. You create direct jobs of 200 persons, direct jobs. I think direct jobs over 10,000 persons. You see the picture. So the question now you ask yourself is, why has the federal government gone ahead to invest such a huge amount of money in acquiring a vessel for an MDA that won't be able to manage it and maintain it over the long term? And then these fishing terminals are lying fallow that can create direct jobs for Nigerians.
I'm actually a bit concerned here, because I feel that when the federal government embarks on such a venture, acquiring a fishing vessel, is it just to acquire it? What about the operational framework for the company that will be running the fishing vessel, ensuring that it's maintained, create jobs? Isn't there a framework really to guide how it is run, how it will be used, without the environment has to be put in shape to enable fishing to take place on a larger scale?
Well, I don't have access to the contractual agreements on people who acquired the vessel for the federal government. But what I do know is that such money is being invested in such a venture is a total waste. When you have 3 federal fishing terminals that are lying fallow and have not, and just lying there, not utilized, with big, huge facilities and all that, and then you just, okay, there is a private Indian company that is doing something in Apapa, and they're making close to 50 million USD per annum on the same kind of arrangement. They go into the coastline, bring in, we have one of the best tiger shrimps around the world. They go in, bring them there, and export them out of the country. So why can't these federal fishing terminals do the same?
Okay, so I want to believe that the Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development is listening, and he will take some steps towards looking into this new development.
Of course, this development is the federal fishing terminals have to look into. This industry has to be looked into, and you can't just keep building and leaving them waste. Now, upgrade them, get private investors to come in and take over these facilities. Like I mentioned to you, some Indian people, Indian-owned company in Apapa, they're making a lot of money from fish trawling. They're in our country here. So why can't these facilities that are lying fallow, and they don't have as huge facility as these federal fishing terminals, so why go invest such monies in acquiring a vessel that is not going to provide up to 20 or 50 jobs for Nigerian people or Nigerian youths? Why the federal fishing terminals are lying fallow there and not being utilized?
Okay, I'd like us to look at other areas as we are actually moving on. The issue of crop processing zones. What's the latest in that direction? Because I know that we are beginning to see some steps that have been taken by the Agriculture Ministry to build silos. That was launched a while ago. Want to know what's going on with the crop processing zones before we talk about the silos.
Well, the stable crop processing zones was to replicate what was there, what we inherited from the British government, where it had the regions. The regions were running with their own system, and they were mopping up produce. Like in the south here, you had cocoa, and in the eastern region you had palm oil, palm kernel actually, and they were mopping up all these and trading them, and mopping up from the locals, and the regions traded these things, these commodities, for a differential, and used it in settling bills, paying salaries and running government and all the rest of them. So what they're trying to do is replicate that same scenario where you had the settlements in these, where you had the farm settlements, like the Nekede farm settlement that was in the eastern region then. Then these stable crop processing zones are a replica, but the question is the ownership structure. That's a challenge which is on ground. The ownership structure is that the investment is not actually attractive enough. About 14 stable crop processing zones have been created, and the investment has been attractive enough to attract investors. Like I know of the one in Kano has been taken up, one in Nasarawa was launched recently, then the one in Taraba. Let me give a typical example, like the one in the Andoni in Rivers State. I had a unit that has done feasibility, but it's not taking off. And the question you now ask yourself is that how is it going to be run? What's the structure? Is it going to be sustained after this period? Is it going to be sustainable next 10, 15 years? Or are we just looking at a system where after 4, 8 years of governance, the project dies? What is continuity? Is there any continuity factor in it? Sustainability factor in it?
Now, how viable are these crop processing zones? Because the essence of what we're talking about right now is how to create jobs for the teeming unemployed youths out there. How viable are they?
As far as I'm concerned, on a personal note, they're not viable. The reason why they're not viable is because there is no sustainable business model created around them.
Do you have information about all of this? Because I want to say that for every step taken by the Agriculture Ministry and even any other ministry in terms of having to develop certain establishment or certain companies, as the case may be, there should be a document guiding its operation and ensuring that it works according to terms to benefit Nigerians. So I just want to know that do you have information as regards the structure about these processing zones?
Now, these processing zones, what influenced their setting up was they come to a catchment area and look at what is the predominant crop there and create a processing zone, a value addition zone for each of them.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing now is that this project on its own was supposed to have attracted investors naturally. Attracted investors who come and invest, and then it doesn't have to be, at the onset, it doesn't have to be government enabled. Now, just like what you have in this other sector, in the power sector, where the investments, the GENCOs, the DISCOs have, and the TCN now is up for sale too, and you have people clamoring for it, because the investment is attractive enough for it. Now, you can't get foreign direct investment on sentiments. You're going to get foreign direct investment on the viability of the project, not on political grounds. So most of the things we are doing now are politically influenced, not on the viability. Okay. So the question now is, these projects, like the one in Andoni right now, is a settlement, a fish settlement, a big one. What government is supposed to have done is to create the enablers. Come there, put basic amenities, put electricity, put constant electricity, put constant, the water supply system, put the roads in place and all that. And that will now stimulate, it will serve as a nucleus to stimulate the other production around the zone. Because people in the riverine area are basically fishermen. It will now stimulate production around that area.
Okay.
You understand? If you create like a demand, there will be a system flowing on its own continuously. Just like what you have up north, the Tomato Valley in Kadawa Valley, the same thing. In Nasarawa State, the rice production, all the rice farmers are tied to those Indian investors there, and there is a system, there's a nucleus, the small farm holders, the small scale farmers there are also tied, share common infrastructure. That's what the model is supposed to be.
Now talking about value chains here, having to build other businesses around the major business in a particular area.
Exactly, that's what the design is supposed to be, where this processing zone serves as, like a catalyst for the small scale farmers. Because now, like when you come to Taraba State or Nasarawa, they have big land for good rice. You understand?
Okay.
So at this point right now, it stimulates that serves as the nucleus that stimulates production in other areas.